Hi. Thank you for attending today's reading. Let's begin. How I exposed the vile underbelly of TikTok. I became infatuated with a blonde girl on TikTok named Chloe. So much so that I would watch her live streaming content on a daily basis for the past month. She did nothing more but hold her phone in her hand while laying in her bed and respond to mostly men's instant messages. I always thought it was kind of pathetic, but the girl was very attractive and was way out of my league, and she would actually respond to my messages when she was streaming live. Sometimes there would be 150 people watching her live streaming, then other days there would be only 8 people viewing, who were mostly guys. Tonight is a slow night for her, where she only had 8 viewers. But then again it's 2 a.m., where most people are sleeping. As 2:15 a.m. approached, she hit an all-time low of having only 4 viewers. Which I didn't mind, because then I would be the focal point of her attention. I always thought that she was alone in her room when she was streaming live. However, I just heard something deeply disturbing that wasn't meant to be heard by her viewers. I heard a male voice whisper, "Do something." Quote, where Chloe's face looked really fearful after hearing the male voice, and she said, "Come on guys. Come back. What can I do to make you guys not leave?" Quote, "What do you mean?" I messaged her. "Oh, I just want everyone to have fun and keep watching me," she typed back. She couldn't get her viewers up this early in the morning, so she said, "Good night everyone." Then her live streaming was disconnected. I was a little bummed out that Chloe ended her live session, so I browsed TikTok to see if any other girls were streaming live. Then I came across another attractive blonde, whose name is Livy, so I joined her live session. She too had a low view count because it was so late at night. I typed in, "Hi Livy. How are you doing tonight?" Quote, "I'm fine. I'm just hanging out." Quote, "That's cool. How old are you?" Quote, "I'm 20 years old." Livy responded. Then I heard a faint male voice say, "Show more of your chest." Where Livy's face went from relaxed to looking very uncomfortable fairly quick. The male voice seemed eerily similar to the voice on Chloe's live session. Livy pulled down on her dress, without exposing her nipples, which drew in more people who were casually scrolling through TikTok, and within a minute her viewer count went up significantly to the point where she couldn't answer everyone's questions. Livy looked uncomfortable exposing most of her chest. As I started to look at Livy's bedroom, where she was filming her live session from, I noticed that when she pointed her phone's camera to the ceiling, that it was the same ceiling fan and unusual octantal ceiling shape as Chloe's room. I thought to myself that what are the chances that someone has the same exact ceiling fan and the same highly unusual ceiling layout? So I continued to watch Livy's live session to pick up on other characteristics of her room. Then I said, "What the hell?" out loud when I saw that Livy had the same dresser and her closet was in the same place as Chloe's. "This is the same room as Chloe's," I said out loud. Being that I'm 31 years old and older than most of the other male viewers on TikTok, I'm probably the only person who cares enough to pick up on the room similarities to the point where it's undeniably the same bedroom. I always thought these young women were just doing these live sessions for fun, while hoping to make some extra money. However, this is the first time that I thought something really sinister was going on. I thought to myself, why would Chloe leave her bedroom so another young woman could pretend that it's her bedroom to start another live streaming session? There was no other logical explanation other than these girls were working in shifts and were more than likely being forced to do these live sessions. Something else that irked me was when a male viewer would jokingly type into Chloe's live session, "I'll pay you if I can come over to hang out with you," quote, where Chloe would respond to those offensive comments with, "Send me a private message," which I previously had thought was just a joke. But now I'm assuming that these girls are unwillingly prostituting themselves out. So I typed in, "I'll pay you if I can come over to hang out with you," into Livy's live streaming session. Like clockwork she responded back, "Send me a private message." So I sent the private message and Livy responded, "Where do you live?" Quote, "I live in Pennsylvania." Quote, "Oh, I'll be in Maryland in 2 weeks from now." Livy messaged me back, "That's not horribly far from Pennsylvania. Can I see you if I drive to Maryland?" I responded, "Sure if the price is right lol." Livy responded, "How about $200? Quote, "I think I'll be too busy when I visit Maryland to see you." Quote, "How about $500? Quote, "I think I can find the time to see you, lol." "Okay. How do I send you the money then?" Quote, "Send the $500 to this PayPal account that I'll copy and paste in a second and then I'll send you the address and time when you can see me." Once again, I thought this conduct was really unusual and I doubted that the person who I sent the private message to was actually Livy, but was more than likely that guy who I heard in the background. I thought to myself $500 is a good amount of money, but is also a figure that most young men could come up with. The most obvious thing to do was wait until Chloe came on her live session tomorrow and ask her the same question of, "Can I come see you?" Quote, "I woke up the next day and went to work. Then I came home and waited for Chloe to come on. I logged onto TikTok with one of my dummy accounts and eventually she logged onto her live session. I waited a few minutes then I typed in, 'I'll pay you if I can come over to hang out with you,' quote, where Chloe typed in the same phrase as Livy did, 'Send me a private message.' I went through the same back and forth messaging where I almost couldn't believe it when Chloe messaged me that she will be in Maryland in 2 weeks and I had to pay her $500 to get an address and a time. I now had the disgusting feeling that these young women were somehow being trafficked. So I paid the $500 to both Chloe's and Livy's PayPal accounts and unsurprisingly, I was given the same Comfort Inn hotel address in Glen Burnie, Maryland, but with different hotel rooms and different times. I now was on a mission to uncover how many young women were being exploited on TikTok. So I continually sent the, "I'll pay you if I can come over to hang out with you" message on different TikTok dummy accounts that I had created. Amazingly, 5 other girls said that they were going to be in Maryland in 2 weeks. I didn't feel it was necessary to spend the $500 to get the actual address and time. So I waited the 2 weeks then I drove to Maryland and waited in the hotel parking lot where I could see both of the hotel rooms that Chloe and Livy had given me. I was about 5 hours early from seeing Livy, which was the first room and time that I was given to see. As I waited in the parking lot, I saw something extremely appalling, where a bunch of younger guys would drive into the parking lot and get out of their cars and then knock on predetermined hotel doors about once an hour, to include Chloe's and Livy's hotel room, where the hotel door would open and the young guys would go in. Seeing car after car pull into the hotel parking lot, then seeing some guy get out of his car and head to a predetermined hotel room, kind of reminded me of the same visuals of watching countless people get out of their cars to go into a Blockbuster. back in the day, or watching guys get out of their cars to go into a strip club. Because of the sheer endless volume of guys that would continually enter and exit the parking lot, I figured there must be at least 30 different hotel rooms, and this hotel was purposely selected because of its large parking lot and the ability for someone to watch from the parking lot at their various rooms that were being utilized by the TikTok girls. I noticed that there were 3 cars in the parking lot, where each car had a guy that was constantly watching the traffic coming in and out of the hotel rooms. These guys definitely looked like shady characters and weren't cops. Eventually my time came to go to Livy's hotel room, so I got out of my car, where I felt a sense of nervous enthusiasm to see what was actually going on. I knocked on Livy's door and she answered the door right away. I could tell that was really high on some type of substance, which might have been from crack or ecstasy. Livy definitely didn't have the same personality that she displayed on TikTok. She actually handed me a condom within 5 minutes, where I almost threw up from the vileness that was occurring. Livy was so out of it that I couldn't even hold a conversation with her, and I could tell that she was brainwashed not to ask for help or anything along those lines. I saw enough of what I needed to see, and I gave the condom back to her. Then I went back to my car. I felt a complete sense of disgust and sleaziness come over me, where I couldn't even get out of my car 2 hours later to see Chloe during my assigned time. I decided to just hang out in the parking overnight and see what would happen in the morning. The next morning at about 8 a.m. a large commercial Mart's passenger bus pulled into the driveway, which woke me up from my dead sleep. At about 8:15 a.m. each TikTok girl was being pushed out of her hotel room by some unknown guy who went from room to room. At about 9 a.m. I saw about 50 girls get onto the bus, which nearly made me throw up. Then the bus pulled away and I decided to follow the bus. The bus eventually got onto Interstate I-80 West, and it just kept driving and driving, where I almost fell asleep behind the wheel. I tried to stay far away back from the bus so the drive wouldn't know that I was following it, and I had to get gas at the same time, which I used the same caution and fueled up away from the bus. After almost 20 hours of painstaking driving, the bus got off I-80 and stopped in this hole in the wall town in Wyoming called Rock Springs. The bus drove outside of the town and into this large compound that reminded me of the David Koresh compound that the authorities tried to overtake in Waco, Texas. I didn't pull into the compound for fear of my own life, so I just took down the coordinates and then went back to the town of Rock Springs, where I pulled into a gas station. Because of the magnitude that was going on in that compound, I decided that I couldn't trust the local authorities, and instead I contacted the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Agent Sipkowitz took down the information that I had provided, and she seemed equally as shocked as I was regarding the magnitude of the operation. Agent Sipkowitz told me that she would contact me if any additional information was needed from me. The next day Chloe and Livy didn't log onto their TikTok live accounts. So I typed Rock Springs into Google's recent news stories, and I saw a story about an overnight raid that had occurred, where I saw the photo of the compound in Rock Springs and the title read, "A Potential Human Trafficking Operation Was Uncovered." End of story. That is all for today. If you want to support my automated channel, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.